Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly. Yeah! It's a weekly podcast with haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And dear God, the look Crystal's giving me right now.
You all right over there?
Probably not.
Yeah.
As we're going to discuss in a minute, probably not.
Yeah.
It's probably some kind of Geneva torture for me to be doing this to myself.
Yeah.
That's why I report myself for human rights violations and put myself in prison.
Yeah.
For this.
I think that's how that works. Totally.
But yes, you can find us at Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. We also are at hauntweekly.com. That's where our main website is. We're also youtube.com/hauntweekly, our YouTube channel. All previous episodes are there for wonderful, easy perusal. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Hoo-Ha, Yowza, Wowza, Bangza, whatever. Go get your podcast from there. We should be there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, it has been an interesting week around Haunt Weekly headquarters. I'm not even going to pretend to hide it.
No.
It's the first time I've been in this room, but from this direction in quite some time.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll go into more details in a minute, but I've been quite ill this week, and I'm still not 100%, but I'm doing much, much better.
Yeah.
And the mere fact that I can sit here and do a podcast for an hour, I think is a testament to that.
Well, the podcast isn't over yet, so we don't know if you can.
Yeah, that's a cocky statement for a guy that's exactly, what is this, a minute or so into a podcast.
Exactly.
Bold words there, Jonathan. Keep it up. Don't tempt worse, as the old statement goes. But anyways, let's get the conference reminders out of the way. Crystal, do us the honors.
Okay, September 6th through the 8th, it's Mask Fest / Horror Hound Film Fest in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Indiana Convention Center. It features mask makers, and makeup artists of all types, and a film festival, also maskfest.com for more info.
Yeah, I guess if I showed up at Mask Fest / Horrorhound Film Festival and didn't meet mask makers and have a film festival, you're a little pissed off when I left.
Exactly.
Oh, God. After that, September 28th and the 29th in Houston, Texas, it's Scary Dad's Halloween and Party Show Part Trace. 3. He says 3, I'm pretty sure. It's at the Crown Plaza Hotel, Houston Galleria. There'll be tons of vendors. Tickets are just $10. Hosted by the Scary Dad podcast, nightmareretreat.com for all the juicy details on that one, including if you wish to go vend.
Yes. Okay, September 28th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's been added in. It's the Arizona Haunts Haunted Swap Meet in Phoenix, Arizona at the Metro Center Mall at the Northwest entrance. It'll be hosted by the Arizona Haunters Forum, hauntedswapmeet.com for more info.
Looks good. All right. We've added this into the notes. There's not a lot of details available yet. I'm just excited it's happening again.
Right.
I wanted to help get it out there. Coming October 4th and 5th / 11th and 12th. It's the Lost Souls Chicago Haunted Bus Tour. It will be meeting in Chicago, Illinois. The locations will vary per night, if it's anything like last year at least.
Right.
This is an assumption based on last year.
Yes, this is a thing we went to last year. And
we did a whole big deal about and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a great chance to meet fellow aficionados of haunting and hang out on bus and get way too drunk with Brewster.
Yeah.
And then go to all these amazing haunts.
Yeah.
My God, I could not recommend it enough. Now, the haunts have not been announced yet.
Right.
But we are ecstatic it's coming back, and they have saved the dates, if you will. So that is all we have now is dates and, of course, the city. Guys, if you missed last year, start saving those dates and start saving that monies now. You're going to want to go.
Yep. Okay, and then finally for this week, November 8th and 9th, it's Legendary Haunt Tour in Atlanta, Georgia. They'll be meeting at the Gwinnett Place Hotel, and we'll be touring Netherworld Haunted House in Atrox in Leeds, Alabama, among others. You can find out what those others are at legendaryhaunttour.com.
And I just completely realized, maybe this is blamable on the illness, but I whiffed on adding the domain. It's lostsoulschicago.com.
Yes.
For the lost... Sorry, Japes.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of pity for me in about 3 seconds, so...
Well, we've already put on...
yeah, we already mentioned...
If you're already, following us on Facebook, you know what's coming up.
Yeah, if you're already listening to the Haunt Weekly at Facebook, you already know well what's up and what's been going on, which we will explain in our next segment. What have we done for our haunt this week? And the answer is, we didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And that's because all I've been able to do is shit.
Yeah.
Long story short, I came down with very nasty stomach flu Thursday morning, very early, like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Thursday morning was when it first hit. And it was really kind of, and it's funny now. I can laugh at it now.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I couldn't. And I'm still, kind of struggling with it. But anyways, I woke up Thursday morning, because Wednesday nights are kind of our going out, hanging out.
Well, it's our crafting night, which means Jonathan drinks and picks locks.
Picks locks. And so I'd had a few drinks that night.
Yeah.
Not a crazy amount.
No.
By my standards, especially. But I'd had a few. And I woke up at 3 a.m. with the room spins, which, room spins are not a symptom I get with hangovers.
No.
It's just not one of my symptoms. It's not on the list. But I woke up with room spins and severe nausea. And I'm like, oh, man. Apparently I'm getting too old for this. I'm getting hangovers from that. Christ. And then by Thursday evening or so, I was like, food poisoning?
Yeah.
And then Friday, I was just wishing for death.
Yeah.
Pretty much all day.
Yeah.
And so then it just went straight downhill from there. Even though Friday night, Saturday morning kind of began the rebound, it's been a slow rebound.
Yeah, it was still bad.
It was still very bad Saturday. Still not very good Sunday. It's better today. I've been much more functional today.
Yeah, I think this might be... Well, I haven't been home because I've been going to the office, but yeah. I think this might be the first day without fever, so...
Oh, it is actually. I checked my temperature before I came in. I'm at 96.8.
Okay, good.
Which for me is totally normal. I've always run about 2 degrees cold.
Yeah.
No one's ever known why. Really fun prank to play on the whenever you get a substitute school nurse.
Well, actually, it really sucks with school nurses, though, because I also run cold, and they would never let me go home whenever I felt bad.
And there's the counterpunch to it.
Because I'd be at,
You're at 101 and 102, and
yeah.
And or you're at like a 99 or so, you're right at that cusp of 100.
Yeah.
And like, but you don't understand, I'm 2 degrees cold.
Yeah.
That's basically like a 101.
Exactly.
Yeah, I might have been there a time or two.
Yep.
It sucks. But anyways, because of the illness, we didn't do any of our plans this weekend for the haunt.
Right.
And we had some pretty good ones. We were going to do some stuff. We had some things we wanted to do. Our big thing was we wanted to visit the local spirit and other local shops for Halloween stuff.
Yes. And the reason for that was so that we could do Haunt Weekly.
Yeah. We're getting there. We're coming back to it.
I know.
But, yeah, we wanted to go visit both the spirits, which, as we mentioned previously, they're all across the river from us now, so now they're a bit of a haul.
Yeah.
And we have to plan these trips. It's not just, hey, we're going to Home Depot, we'll check spirit on the way there.
Right.
Type thing. It's like, no, Jesus, it's like a 30-minute drive or something almost.
Yeah.
So anyways, we were going to do that. We were going to skin and dress the new prop builds we did.
Right.
And we were going to start work, or at least really nail down how we were going to do the third and final build.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a good weekend, and fortunately it got blown apart. Yeah. Like my insides.
Yes.
The good news for us is that we're still not behind by any imagination. Mm-hmm. This definitely ate into our cushion, though.
Yeah.
There's not much doubt about that. We've gone from a quiet confidence and smugness, I would say, almost smugness, to maybe a little hustle.
Yeah.
A soft hustle.
Yeah. Well, and we're still not sure, what the road work is doing, because I see that's coming up in the list of things to talk about.
Yeah. And the road construction right now is a wild card still. Where we sit now, they have laid curbs down on the other side of Vivian from us, on their side of the court. We saw them doing that. but there's been no paving anywhere.
No paving, and they haven't torn up our side yet.
No, they haven't even started work on our side.
Yeah.
And we're recording this the day it's going out. We're recording this is like a live action here. It's as live as it gets, guys. So we're recording this on August 26th.
Right.
And they promised us they'd be done by the end of September.
Right, and they started July 11th.
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm very skeptical about that. And the weather here has been pretty shit lately, if we're being honest. Oh, yeah, wait, I forgot about your drive home.
Yeah.
I don't know how, it just happened 5 fucking minutes ago.
Yeah, I know. No, it took me more than an hour to get home because of street flooding. Even the on-ramps to get to the bridge to get home were flooded, so.
Yeah, have either of us looked at the other side of Vivian to see how fucked it is right now?
No. I even drove by it, but no.
That might have been a good thing for one of us to do. Maybe we'll do it on the way to pizza later.
Yeah.
We'll get our pizza later. We'll have to do that. But yeah, we've got no update on the ETA of the road completion. And things, frankly, to me, do not look good. But, you know, they still swear, cross their heart, hope to die, stick a needle in their eye, that it will be done.
Yeah.
You know. I guess we're going to find out just how accurate those estimates are. But yes, as you briefly mentioned earlier, it also borked plans with Haunt Weekly. The topic we had planned, or sort of been in discussions on at least. Right. Don't know if planning's the right word. Hey, we don't plan much around these here parts.
No.
But we've been discussing doing our store-based one. We did one last year. Visit all the stores, talk about what they got, what we bought, what we suggest others pick up, and maybe if they had more money.
Right.
Not broke asses like us.
Yeah. Well, and now I'm also looking for small things that I wouldn't have been looking for previously for headdresses.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, we were planning on discussing Spirit and the other stores. We were also, in addition to Spirit, that put us closer to a bunch of other department stores we don't have nearby.
Right.
We were going to do a little tour of the East Bank, Halloween edition, and see what all they had. It was going to be fun, but yeah, that did not happen.
No.
So what will probably happen instead is we will do that this weekend. We'll do the actual running around.
Mm-hmm.
But next episode is a news episode, so you probably will get that for 197, most likely.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. So instead, though, of doing that obviously very well planned episode, I'll tell you, it was like Navy SEAL Team 6 precision with that planning.
Well, you know, we actually had a topic a week ahead of time,
yeah, that's true.
So that's something.
That's better than usual. Gotta give us that. But yeah, instead of doing that, we have to cobble together an episode quickly, and we're going to exploit that. Because we're going to talk, this episode is a topic that we maybe,
yeah.
Maybe, focus on the maybe here. Shh, focus on the maybe. Be turning into a talk at some point in the not too distant future, or hoping to. I'm not saying this is the talk.
No.
Almost certainly isn't. But, because basically, I mean, everything about this is different. It's a different time frame. There are no visuals. We have a different format. Long story short, yeah.
Yeah.
This is very, very different than what the talk would likely be like. But yeah, long story short, we're hoping that this becomes something like what some of the information from this would make it into the talk, and this helps us sort of get a jump on the research and the process of putting it together.
Yeah. So
in a way, you're helping us out, and a kind of, I would say, quadruple alpha testing the topic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Is there a less than alpha?
Yeah, is there anything less than alpha? Because the talk has not been developed.
No.
To be very, very clear, we're just testing the concept.
Yeah.
We're basically showing you screenshots and seeing if this is something you're interested in. Please turn the dial.
And I don't think we've actually mentioned what we're talking about yet.
No, we haven't yet. Not at all in this podcast. I guess you'd have to read the actual title of the episode to get that. Yeah, we're talking about haunt scare tactics this week. And specifically, haunt scare tactics, basic haunt scare tactics, haunt scare tactics 101. To a lot of people, this is going to be very basic, almost patronizing to go over this. Mm-hmm. But if you're new to haunting, especially new to haunt building, a lot of this is stuff that we've had to learn and hone over time,
Right.
or had to pick up by going through haunts and go, okay, that was a great scare. Why didn't it work?
Yeah.
Or that was a great scare. Why did it work?
Yeah.
Why did it make me jump so well?
Yeah, because that's something that a lot of haunt owners, I think, forget to do, is analyze if something works, why did it work?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to tell why something fails, but if you've got something that really works, what's the magic there?
Yeah, and the magic could be a lot of things. It could be you just have an amazing actor in that room, and you could literally stick that person in a blank room,
close to, because we're getting to that too.
But you know what I mean? You could literally stick them just about anywhere and they can make it work.
Yeah.
There are people that you can do that with.
Yeah.
They are pretty much literally 1 in a million.
Yeah, they're very difficult to find.
Yeah. But yeah, there are people you can do that with. But a lot of it comes down to tactics and trying to understand basically what makes scares work. And so here's the thing. We've all been to haunts with no or very limited concept of tactics. And this is actually a pretty common problem for new haunts, even new fairly large haunts. Mm-hmm. And I hope Dwayne's not listening, but when we went to Louisiana Nightmares,
right?
This is going way the hell back.
Yeah.
I can picture Dwayne now leaning back on, well, that takes me back a ways. It's probably almost exactly what he did. Yeah, that's going way old school. This is about 15 years ago now. 15 or more, isn't it?
More than that.
Oh, fuck me, we're old people.
Yeah.
So,
closer to 18 or 19.
Yeah. They struggled with this.
Yeah.
They had a very good build.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of awesome sets, a lot of awesome rooms, some great actors, but they really struggled with the tactics of it.
Right.
Now they've gotten much better since. Mm-hmm. They put some thought in it. You can see some of that strategy and tactics coming in now. Mm-hmm. They've been doing that for a while. But way back then, they had a rough time with it. So if you're struggling with it, don't feel bad.
No.
The worst you can still become the 13th gate. I'm just saying.
You can still become one of the top tier haunts.
The sky's the limit. This is a solvable problem, man.
Because everybody learns by doing. And so you've got to, there's a learning curve in scaring.
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve. So yeah, but we've all been to those haunts. When you walk into a room and the scare is clearly visible, you know instantly where the scare is, what it is.
Yeah, even if you're not a haunter.
Even if you're like Joe Schmo, never been to a haunt in your life, and you go, oh well, that's the scare. It's going to be a drop panel. Oh yeah, well look at me, I was right.
Yeah.
Been there.
Now I actually like to use those as distracts.
Oh yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we're famous for when we don't use a drop panel, it's a drop panel.
Yeah.
We put it up, screw it at an odd angle so it doesn't fit right.
Yeah.
And that way it leaves a little crack and people are looking for it.
Yeah, or put something that should obviously be the scare.
Yeah.
Close to or across from where the scare actually comes from.
Yeah. And then there's the scares that are too easily missed because they're timed poorly.
Right.
Even though this isn't really a timing thing.
Yeah.
It also comes down to tactics. Scares that all come from the same direction. A lot of one-person haunts, and a lot of year-round haunts have that problem because of it. Because they're one person.
Yeah, and they kind of have to be. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and what I would say is you have your human scares from the right, but you mix in some animatronic scares from the left.
Yeah.
You can have fully automated scares work that way.
You could. I just don't think of animatronics as scares.
You've got to get imaginative, but I think it can be done.
Distracts.
Yeah. Then there are obvious indicators of impending scares hanging around there.
Right.
And scares that don't have an audio and visual component. They just kind of wash over you. And either you're annoyed by them, or you're just not really moved by them. Maybe they startled you, but not like really startled you.
Yeah. Sometimes they're laughable.
Yeah. And on the flip side, we've all been actors. If you've been a haunted actor long enough, you've probably been in a room that you just couldn't pull together.
Yeah.
There's no workable tactical scare there.
Right.
And it's not your fault, dude or dudette.
Yeah.
You're okay. It ain't you.
Yeah.
Dude, dudette, or non-binary dude. It's not your fault. I have no idea.
We can tell.
It's not your fault, though. Because even a great actor cannot overcome bad tactics.
Right. And that goes into the planning and the build. Because, we've talked about this before. One of the tactics that we use is we start with the scares.
Yeah.
So.
And sometimes what a great actor will do, and we've both achieved this in various capacities, is we'll see how they built the room to work, try it a few times, realize it's just not coming together. And then we go, well, okay, what else can I do in the space?
Yeah. And
then we develop an actual scare that works in that room.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, but sometimes it isn't the actor's fault. It's simply the way the room is structured.
Right.
So to that end, we've come up with 5 the basic rules of scare tactics and haunting, and we like to share them with you now. Mm-hmm. They are, first, every scare should have a distract and startle.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot.
Yes, and we're going to talk about it again briefly. Then second, every scare should have at least a visual and sound component. Mm-hmm. 3, no 2 consecutive scares should come from the same direction. 4, no 2 of the same scare should ever be back to back.
Right.
And 5, every scare should be variable and flexible. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about those in order, and that's how we're going to spend the rest of this episode.
Yay!
Hope you're locked in for it.
Yep.
So distract and startle is something we actually started talking about way back in episode 9.
Yeah.
We had our good friend Kyle. He sat down with us, and he has worked at a slew of haunts, and he's a guy that is, as an actor, and he's one of the most energetic people you'll ever work with in a haunt. I guarantee you. You ain't met anyone like him.
Yeah.
Well, you probably have, but not many. But he's really out there. Mm-hmm. But he had some really great insight on this and how to do it. So I would definitely go back and check that episode out if you're interested in this. Mm-hmm. But the basic premise is that you use a distract to get people looking where you want them.
Right.
Now, one mistake haunters make is they tend to think, oh, well, people are going to look in the direction they're walking. Duh, pants. Don't you look where you're walking, stupid poopy head? Are you not 5 anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, we found that that's not always true.
Have you watched people going the wrong, especially people on edge?
Yeah.
Going the people that are ripe to be scared. Yeah. Have you watched them in a haunt?
They look everywhere.
Their head is on a fucking swivel, man, and that's a greased damn swivel. Yes. All over the place with that.
Yes, they do not look down, though.
They do not look down, but they are up, down, high, left, right, they're everywhere. They are scanning every inch of that room they can as quickly as they can.
Right, trying to figure out where they're going to get got from.
They're trying to figure it out. They are all over that room. And if you think they're going to look dead ahead because you've got a hallway and they should be looking dead ahead to go down that hallway, you, good person, are wrong.
Yes.
They will not behave with you. They will not cooperate with you unless you kindly nudge them. You give them a little push, a little shove, a little flick, a little flea flick in the direction that you want them to look. And then you hit them from another direction.
Right.
It's so simple. Now, in our experience, and we've actually done a lot of experimenting with this, 90 degrees is about the perfect angle of attack.
Yeah.
If the distract is to the right, we want the scare coming from the front. Mm-hmm. If the distract is from the front, we want the scare coming from the left or the right. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We want to hit that sweet, sweet, yummy peripheral vision.
Yeah. I think that the only time we've done a scare that was not from that angle that worked well was right at the beginning. When I would do a switch out, I was the stalker and the scary person, and the cutesy entrance person would lead them in. We would do a quick swap out, and I would get behind the group.
And that's more of a, honestly, that's not as much of an extreme startle scare.
No.
As it is.
Well, I don't know. Some people hit the floor.
People react strongly to all kinds of things. Yeah. It's intended more as a uncomfortable, your hours now, unsettling scare.
Exactly.
Which those are fine, by the way. Everything we're dealing with here in terms of scare tactics is about the pop.
Yeah.
It's about getting the scream. It's about getting that big reaction. You know what I mean? It's about getting that real startle reaction. Mm-hmm. And in that end, the peripheral vision is your friend.
Yes, it is.
Because the thing is this, you have like a cone of vision in front of you. It extends about 45 degrees or so from your eyes. And basically that is where your frontal vision is. Your brain is constantly looking, examining, and processing it.
Right.
But your eyes can see further than that. And the problem is your brain doesn't really process that information. So if there's a sudden change in that area, then your brain kind of has a, whoa, shit moment.
Yeah. And you're going to look wherever that change was.
Yeah. If something's coming toward me from the front, my eyes, now that I've had LASIK at least, have time to go, okay, that is a hand, what I'm doing with my hand. That is a hand, it's coming toward me slowly, I'm not in any imminent danger, chill out.
Yeah.
But if it's coming from the side, it's a little more ominous.
Yeah.
It's a little more freaky.
It's those little shadows at the outside of your vision.
You want to play with that. And if you go too far behind someone, they can't see it.
Exactly.
Now, you can get them to look over their shoulder, and that can freak some people out, don't get me wrong. But yeah, basically too far in the front, too easy to predict. Too far in the back, too difficult to see. Peripheral, sweet, instinctive juices flowing.
Yeah.
It's always been my experience.
Yeah.
And as far as what to use as a distract, just about anything if you work it right.
Yeah.
I mean, an animatronic prop, you mentioned that. We've used even cheesy animatronics as distracts.
Yeah.
If you got those fancy LED panels in your haunt, these are great because they're nice and they're bright and they got cool effects on them.
Right.
They work really well for that.
Yeah.
You got a big flashy whatchamadoogle thingy, that's fine too. You could even just use simple lighting. If you're in a dark room and you've got a bright light at the end of the hallway, people are going to focus on that. That can be your distract. You can also use a human being as a distract. Get a tag team of actors. Have one guy one person who's placed in the room intentionally to be the goofy, silly, not even necessarily goofy, but they can just be a character, someone to interact with and pull attention.
Yeah, because a lot of haunts also put victims in this role as the distract.
Yeah, a victim actually does make a really good distract too here. Someone to interact, to draw attention, draw sympathy. Yeah. That works. One of the reasons strobe lights are so popular in haunts is because they are an automatic 360 distract. Yeah. When you're under a strobe light, you literally cannot focus about anything but the strobe. Yes. And trying not to trip.
It's annoying. Yeah. I don't like strobes.
We don't use strobes. I think they're cheap. I think, frankly, they're kind of lazy. And also, I think they're kind of dangerous because even people that aren't photosensitive can trip. They can have problems with it. You can create issues. But yeah, it's a 360 distract at the end of the day. It's basically anything that draws the eye, draws the eye and distracts the mind. Yes. It gets the mind focused on that thing rather than what you're about to do to them. And it gets the eye to look where you want it. That's the two jobs of the distract. Yep. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Basically, the whole point of this is that the surprise element, the startle, is amped when people aren't looking at it or expecting it. You don't want them necessarily to see what's coming. Now, with all these rules, I wanted to include a when to break the rule, because no rule is 100%. No. It pays to know the rules so you know when to break the rules.
Yes, and not every scare is going to work on everyone either.
No, exactly. So, for sometimes, and we pulled this off a few times, and I'm very proud of when we have. Yeah. The distract is the startle.
It is. And that is my favorite thing to do.
It's a lot of fun when you can pull it off, but it does take so much more work. Yeah. In 2018, we had a movie theater in our first room. Right. It was like a little home projection thing for a rich dude, basically. Yeah. And we actually had one, and they still sell them, those old, dancing skeleton projection.
Yeah, they sold them at Big Lots a couple of years ago.
They were real big for a hot minute there. I think they're still around somewhere. Yeah. They were actually projectors. Yeah. And so what we did is we set that up and we projected it on a white screen. And what we did is we hid the fact that the screen is actually a breakaway wall and someone pops through. Yeah. So everyone's looking at the this dancing skeleton. Bam! Yep. And what we had to do was we had to rig that. We had to hide it super well. Mm-hmm. It wasn't enough to just, throw some stuff over it and cover it up. We had to really hide it.
Right.
The second, because the reason is they have to still not see what's coming, even when looking directly at it.
Right. We had to hide the scare, not the projector.
Yeah, the scare. Yeah, sorry. Good point. Yeah, we had to hide the actual scare, not the projector. And what that meant for us was we had to kind of make the, it was easy because we had kind of distressed everything.
Yes.
So we made the screen look. What happens in a movie theater's decrepit. The screen's kind of tearing and falling apart. And we used a little piece of fabric to hide the scene that we created.
Right.
And it was completely invisible.
It was.
It was just, I couldn't even tell it was there anymore.
Yeah.
We'd done an amazing job making that invisible.
Right.
And you have to work to make that scare much more sudden because once again, people are looking at it. You're not messing with the peripheral. You don't get to play around with that instinct stuff. Mm-hmm. You've got to hit people before their intelligent part of their brain can kick in and save them.
Right.
And that's surprisingly fast despite how stupid you think people might be.
Yes, it is. The other time we've pulled this off is with a disappearing wall with a projection onto it.
Yeah.
And the great thing about both of these scares is that whenever your customers walk in front of, between the projector and the screen, the actor knows where your customers are without having to be able to see.
They don't have to time anything.
No, because it breaks the light. So they know as soon as the light is broken,
Bingo.
They hit it.
And it's really cool because in both of these examples, the scare goes through the distract.
Exactly.
It's not, there's still a distract and a startle, and they're still kind of coming from different places. Right. It's just from the same direction.
Yeah.
And it's literally the scare leaping through the distract, and that can be really, really cool. So there are times you can play around and break that rule. But if you're just trying to set up rooms that are simple and effective and that actors can trivially run, go with a distract and a startle 90 degrees off center.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
Pure money. You could print money with that. Mm-hmm. It's just a simple formula. It's been going on since the 70s, and it's been going on that long because it fucking works.
Exactly.
Okay. Second rule. At least a visual and audio component to every scare. Now, this deals more with scare design in a lot of ways,
right? But
it also deals with the tactics of it and the placement of it, because you have to think about how this fits into your audio design and your lighting design too. Mm-hmm. Because what you want with both is a sudden change.
Right.
You want something where the audio, and you can actually, I think it'd be interesting to do this, to play it where instead of like somebody appears and makes noise, somebody disappears and it suddenly gets quiet.
Yeah.
That would work.
That would.
It's about the sudden change.
Yeah, it's about the sudden change, and that's not something that's done often.
No, I would love to see Opposite Day in a haunt.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a lot of fun.
That would
hang on, I'm stroking my goatee here.
Yeah, exactly.
This might just be the not fever talking, but that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, because that would throw people off completely and change their expectations.
Yeah, just imagine like you're in a noisy room, someone's walking in, and then boom, they're gone and all the music's off.
Yeah.
That would fuck with some people. Yeah. It might not produce...
If you get the lights to dim too,
that'd be great, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, the point is this, though. Scares should attack more than one sense.
Right.
The more senses a scare hits, the more intense it is. The point of a startle, the reason it works, and this is something that Margie Kerr talked about, was that it overloads our senses.
Right.
It overloads us.
Exactly.
It's just, sensory overload, we don't know how to deal with it. And then our brains take a few seconds to catch up, and when we catch up, we got the adrenaline going, because the brain's like, we're freaking out, and the adrenaline gland's like, ah! And then... This is Biology 101 by Jonathan Bailey. I should be on more drugs, clearly.
Clearly.
And then the adrenaline gland's like, ah! And then the brain finally catches up, and then you've got to get rid of the adrenaline, and then you get the laughter, and you get the fun, and everything comes down. That's when it's fun, right then. But basically, you've got to overload them. And so the more senses you hit, the more you can do that. And a good example of a scare that like implicitly has two effects is a drop panel.
Yeah.
Drop panel makes a loud bang and has a person, hopefully, or a monster or whatever. Surprise, on the other side. That's a big visual change and a big auditory change.
Yes, that's why so many places still use them, even though everybody has them.
Yep, because they work.
Exactly.
They're cheap, they're effective, and they're reliable. I mean, I don't really know. Don't question the old favorites. They got to be the old favorites somehow.
Exactly.
Now here's the thing. It's difficult to do with other senses. Smell is extremely powerful.
Yes, it is.
It's probably one of the most powerful scents that haunts rarely play with. Go to Froggy's Fog. Seriously.
Yeah. And you can, one of the things about adding in smell, and this is something Margie also talked about, was that our memories are really connected to smell.
Yeah.
So if you smell that smell again, then it's going to bring back the memory of that time you went to the haunted house and had a great time being scared.
Yeah.
But the senses, the smells need to make sense in the scene.
Yeah.
Or be completely foreign to your audience.
Yeah. So yeah, smell is great. You should play with smell. But smell in a scare doesn't make much sense because you can't suddenly change the smell. You can't just...
I don't know. Can you?
I don't think you can. And the reason is because smells linger. So you have another group coming by 30 seconds later. They're going to catch the whiff of whatever the first group did. You can do it to the first group in the night, but no guarantees about any others. And that's one of the problems. Like when I did the last ride thing, it was a very cool effect. I really enjoyed it. I recommend, especially since it was like $3 fucking. I mean, you know what I mean?
It wasn't much.
It was like $3 to $5. Okay, I don't feel bad about the money I spent. It was a good time. As while all the physical effects were good, the smell effects did not work because the tubes had been crossed. And so, like they'd be trying to pump in a scent of roses, and it'd be roses mixed with car exhaust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just smells like nothing. Like, I can't even pinpoint this scent. It's not doing anything. And that'd be the problem you'd run into doing those recurring smells in a haunt, I'd imagine. Touch often raises safety issues. This is one of the reasons why we're not terribly big fans of touch haunts. So yeah, you can't, but you can do other things with. There are other ways to play with touch. Right,
and what we're talking about with touch is like actually grabbing people. That you can use feathers, like really long feathers and stuff, and then you don't get in as much of that. Yeah,
safety stuff.
Gray area.
And you have to be careful though how you mess with touch. Yes. But that's the one that I think is most practical. And taste is just ew.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You can't suddenly change someone's taste to give them a startle.
Yeah. So I think that if someone were to see someone else eating something recognizable but gross, then they might like think about what it would taste like.
But that doesn't work well in a startle, though.
No, it doesn't. That's more
that's going back to the smell thing, where you're setting up an ambiance and you're sort of backfilling that, which is once again very important to do. But this is about the actual tactics of the scare, so it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can always do audio and visual. Those are the two aspects of the environment you can most easily control and most easily ramp up and ramp down for a scare. You can hit someone with that drop panel and then have them go back to normal volume in a second. You can have that monster appear right in front of them and then disappear.
Yeah.
You can mess with that. What's wrong, Crystal?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry, you're just giving quizzical looks.
I was having thoughts about the next point.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
But yeah, any scare that incorporates more points will be more powerful.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've realized as I was doing these notes, I think this problem is why I hate air cannons. I've always hated air cannons. If I'm in a dark hallway and an air cannon goes off, my thought isn't, I'm scared. My thought is, fuck me, that was loud.
Yeah.
You fucking assholes. That's my eardrums.
Yeah, because it's trying to play with touch and sound. That's what an air cannon is trying to do.
Not all of them. Not all of them actually blast the air on you. A lot of them just make the goddamn noise.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if you could put like a filter, and this is what I was thinking about and looking quizzical, if you could put a filter with scents in the air cannon to shoot the scent so that it's not in the entire room, it's just there for a second and gone.
I don't think you have the control over scent you believe that people have.
Well, no, it would have to be technology that would, create it.
You know, when we get that smell-o-vision that I was promised back in the 80s, we'll talk about it.
All right.
But, okay, when to break the rule, when you're not going for a pure startle is the answer. And here's the thing. Once again, we're focusing on the really big pop startle reactions.
Right.
Not every scare can or should be
No.
No, these are the tactics of getting the big screams, the people falling on the floor, people flipping their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you
code
got to do a
yellows
little
that people
buttering. You got to do a little prep work to get there, right?
Yeah.
And for that end, yeah, these one sense scares can be really cool. Mm-hmm. Doing a creepy, just visual only scare, make people uncertain about what they saw.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, I would love to do like the monster movie thing where you get glimpses of the monster until the very end, and then it's just there.
Yeah, and then it's probably eating something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not every scare has to be a screamer. You can use these one sense scares to set a vibe, to keep people on edge, to keep people... Because if you keep just attack, you're going to wear people out. Now, we can attack all we want. We're a 2-minute haunt.
Yeah, exactly.
We have that luxury. If you run a haunt that's longer than about 5 minutes, you got to work a break in there. You got to bring them down, but keep them on that fine edge.
Right.
And that's what these are good for.
Yeah.
These are good for the mood changers. These aren't going to be your big pops. These ain't going to be the things that fill your security camera highlight reel of the season necessarily.
Yeah.
But they're going to help create those highlights. So yeah, just remember that you got to include those breather zones, and remember that the time to do those one sense scares is when you're not going for broke, which you should not always be. Mm-hmm. Okay, rule number 4. No 2 consecutive scares. Oh, it's rule number 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rule number 3. God damn, I can't count.
It's okay. That's because you used bullet points instead of numbers.
Shut up. No 2 consecutive scares from the same direction. Directionality really, really matters.
Yes.
This is something that we've noticed very, very succinctly in our haunt. Because we have such tight space, one of the things we've struggled with is trying to attack from multiple directions. Even though we're not a single-person haunt, the nature of the space means that we are always tempted to maximize it by having all the scares come from the center, which would hit everyone from the left or the right, depending upon the direction of the flow.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, because if you look top down at our layout, it's basically a U.
It's a horseshoe with curves, with like zigzags.
It's a horseshoe that's broken up into rooms.
Yeah.
It's partitioned.
Yeah. It's a partitioned horseshoe.
Yes.
That's why I'm calling our layout from now on.
Okay.
So yeah. But basically, so we, like one of the earliest designs we had was we had actor areas in the center, and that meant all the scares came from the same way.
Yeah.
And one of the problems we had, first 2 scares, good pop. And by the end of it, nothing.
Yeah.
We're barely moving them.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd save some pretty, golly willikers, whiz-bang stuff for the end. But they weren't impressed.
No.
And then we realized every time we're hitting them from the left. We're hitting them from the left, or we're hitting them from the right. It's the electric slide, but worse. So yeah, basically, when people sense that scares are coming from one direction, they're going to start looking in that direction and anticipating from that direction. And that's going to hinder your ability to distract for the startle.
Right.
Because they realize, hey, it's always coming from the right.
Yeah.
And you try to use an animatronic, you try to use something to distract left.
Yeah.
They're not going to give that much mind.
No, they're not. Now, you can exploit this. Mm-hmm. You can put 2 rights and a left. Now, that middle one's not going to be as popful as the first and the third. And I think I'm getting disagreed with.
No, you're jumping ahead is what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
You're jumping ahead is what you're doing. No, you're absolutely right. You can use this to your advantage, and that's when to break the rule.
Okay.
Remember, we have the section on when to break the rule every time. But yeah, scares will definitely work better when people don't know where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. And so the way we've started looking at it is basically 4 directions. Well, technically 5, but it's left, right, up, down, and kind of sort of middle.
Yeah.
What's up?
Nothing.
Basically, the easiest way to make sure we don't repeat a direction is we don't just try to alternate left and right, because that can get its own rhythm. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's not the rhythm anyone's going to figure out in the span of our haunt.
No.
But we would notice it pretty annoyingly. So we try to think about left, then forward, or left, then up, left and up, or left forward. You know what I mean? Because you also have forward and back too, I guess, to a lesser degree, mostly forward there. But you have to be careful with those scare forwards for the reasons of flow we've talked about 100 times.
Right.
They still can work. They still have a place. Never say never. Only fairies go to Never Never Land. But long story short, mix up your directions. Attack high, attack low, attack from the left, attack from the right, attack more from the rear, attack more from the front. Vary your directions as much as you can. And constantly be looking for new directions and new places to attack from. Basically, the easiest way to encourage that no two scares are... The easiest way to encourage this diversity is to make it a rule that no two consecutive scares are back-to-back.
Right.
Without a damn good reason.
Yeah.
This really forces you to think about it. Because this year, we almost did that.
We did.
We almost had two scares coming from the same direction. There'd been a right and a right, I think.
Yeah, a right and a right and very similar.
Yeah. And right and right and kind of sort of similar. So we said, okay, wait a minute. That right is more of a physically affixed scare if we build it as is.
Yeah.
We don't really have another place to move that one, so what can we do from the left in this room?
Right.
And then what we did is we turned what we were going to do from the right in that room into the distract, and now it's going to be right and forward, so it's going to slightly mess up the angles, but I think it'll still work. And then the scare will come from the left.
Yeah, the distract's on the right, the scare is
from the left.
Pretty much directly across.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a 90 degree, more of almost a 180, but I still think that one will work because it's also right in the head.
Yeah, and I'm going to be the distract this year in that room.
Yeah, so you're going to be
this out there.
You'll be able to
I'm going to be working it off, working to try to get people's attention best I can.
Yeah.
And
the appropriate amount.
And it's difficult because people are scared of me.
Yep. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Christ, we're almost out of time. We've got 2 more rules to go, but we'll finish this one up.
Okay.
But yeah, basically the whole point of this system is that it enforces you to be creative. It forces you to think about this.
Right.
And to try new things. Because that would have been very deadly to our haunt if we had allowed that.
Yeah.
That was not the time to break the rule.
No, it was not.
Instead, the time to break the rule is when a new direction is expected. So, therefore, the same direction is much more unexpected.
Yeah.
If you are constantly creating that confusion, then sometimes doubling up actually is more powerful than coming from another new direction.
Right.
Because sometimes people will even subconsciously think, oh, the right's the safe side this time. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And we actually got bit that way at Waterloo once.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't possibly put a third scare on the left. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it might have happened to us a few times too. And like you said, it could also be used as a situation where you wanted to do a couple in a row to set the expectation that the third will be on that side, and that allows you to weaken them for an attack from another direction.
Right.
That's the other possible reason to do it. And the truth of the matter is 2 in a row isn't going to really
get you set up
for it. It takes more in a row than that. And like for us, I think the last time we were at a haunt where multiple scares were on the same side and we began to notice it, it took 3 or 4 before I really got clued in on it, even me.
Yeah.
And everyday Joe Schmo's going to take a little longer because they're not paying attention to those things as much.
True.
So, just something to think about. Okay, 4. No 2 of the same scares back to back. This is basically the same rule, but talking about the type of scare.
Yeah.
It's the same vein as the previous rule. You want to use a drop panel? That's great. Just do something else in the next room. And this was one of the other problems with Louisiana Nightmares back in the day. Felt like every goddamn scare was a drop panel on the fucking left-hand side of the fucking room.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You are not.
It's like, God, it's so beautiful, but so poorly laid out for this.
Well, and for their drop panels, they were...
using the inset paintings.
I think they were black walls with frames. Around black paintings.
Yeah, they were...
It was easy to tell where they were.
Yeah,
basically.
And they had a lot of them.
Yeah, and now if you're going to do the simple drop panel like that, make sure you decorate the wall with the same kind or style of painting and multiply it by 3. That way the customer doesn't know which one it is that's going to drop.
In fact, one thing you could have a lot of fun with here is make all 3 drop panels, but instruct the actor only to drop one.
Yeah.
Which one? Choose.
Yes, if it's a hallway, definitely that works.
Have fun, dear actor. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Spend some time. Probably not the first. It's probably going to be the second or the third. But after that, the choice really is yours, isn't it?
Yeah. So just make 2 and make 1 dummy.
Yeah. So, yeah. Long story short, that could be a really great way to handle that. But yeah. Now, obviously, you don't want a scare to become too dense overall. If like 50% of your scares are the same thing,
right,
that's too much. But a back-to-back is an immediate killer. And here's an example. We put 2 drop panels back-to-back once in our haunt. The first drop panel, big pop.
Yeah.
Did really good. The second one, maybe got 50% of the reaction.
Yeah.
And it was technically in the better place.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this even in some very big haunts. Some Atlanta haunts would keep throwing the same scare at us in a zone. You would go into a zone where this is the zone where they hit you with this type of scare. They hit you with the air jets, or they hit you with, with the 3D things or whatever. And it's like, yeah, the first time, effective. Second, third, fourth, it just... The line of diminishing recurves isn't a line. It's one of those exponential drop-offs,
Yeah.
Well, you learn about those in calculus. It's pretty steep. So yes, repeated scares lose punch. Don't do that. Keep mixing it up. And like I said, this is true for any one type of scare, including actor jump out, any loud bangs you want to do, the breakthroughs, etc., drop panels, whatever, air cannons, the air jets, whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, once again, though, this is about enforcing creativity. It's not necessarily a hard rule, but we follow it pretty strictly these days. In fact, very strictly.
Yeah. There's one kind of sort of similar that's going to be the same, but we haven't decided yet. So
yeah, I don't think it's going to be very similar. Mm-hmm. Back to back. I think those two.
Well, they're not back to back either.
Yeah, we're going to have some similarities between some of the scares, and that's fine. You're allowed to repeat a scare in a haunt. Mm-hmm. I mean, but yeah, you just don't want to do it too close together, and you don't want to have it be too high a percentage of your haunt.
Right.
So yeah, and our final rule. Every scare should be variable. Now, this rule is kind of a weird rule, but it's one we've learned to value over the years and really try to focus on. Basically, we realize that we only have 5 rooms, and that if we put all our marbles in a scare in a room, and that scare doesn't pan out, and it's our doing, then we've got a dead room.
Exactly. That
room is fucked. And it's our fault.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. We've had that happen a couple of times where...
The cake room. Oh my God, the cake room.
Yes. Luckily, that was a very small transition room.
Yeah, that really wasn't an actual full room, but dear God, I felt like crap about that. I still feel like crap about that.
Yeah, well...
It's just... When Jonathan gets too ambitious...
Well, there was that. There was putting a drop panel behind people, which was behind the flow of traffic. Yeah. Yeah, we thought it was loud enough, and the person behind it was loud enough that they would get people to look over their shoulder. It didn't.
No.
No. They were way too busy looking.
There's a reason why we didn't talk much about scares from direct in the rear.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
other than don't do it.
Well, scare forward is important.
Yeah.
But scare forward doesn't mean scare from behind.
No.
It usually means scare in the peripheral and scare them and to give them the way forward to run.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. The main thing about scare forward is you don't want to block their running path. Right. You want them to constantly feel like if they're going to run, they're going to run forward.
Yeah. And
not try to run back through the people behind them.
Correct.
That's the difference.
That is a problem.
You do not want that.
Yeah.
Because even in our small groups, if the first person says, I don't feel comfortable running forward, and will try to bulldoze their 3 friends behind them, that's not good. And it gets even worse if you got a conga line or a group of 16 or whatever.
Right. And, that happens because people are more likely to run towards places they've already been through because they know what's there. The unknown makes them want to turn around and run.
Yeah. And so by giving them a much clearer path of escape, you're giving them. Because when people say scare forward, I used to interpret that as scare from the rear. I don't anymore.
Right.
I say scare, but leave the path of escape open.
Exactly. Make it very clear. And one of the best ways to do that is with a light change.
Yeah. Give them a place they feel safe running to.
Yeah.
Anyways, getting back on topic, though. So now we try to make it so that every scare we build has at least 2 possible ways it can be executed. 2 things that can be done with that space.
Right.
If scare 1 doesn't work, the actor is informed about scare possibility 2.
Yeah.
Or 3 and 4. Like, we got one this year that actually, I think, has 4 possible outcomes.
Yeah. It's got a lot.
I think it's our record.
Yeah.
Usually we build 2 or 3. This one's got 4.
Yes, and I already know who's going to be in it. So.
Oh.
Yep.
You going to tell me? No. Okay. Tell me later.
Yeah.
All right. But no, the point is this. Variable scares allow for more creativity and more alternatives. Basically, you want it so that if the way you envision it failed, the actor has an immediate thing they can switch to, and that room can still be lit. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have a dead room because you're scared. And here's the thing. Even the best tactics, even if you follow these rules, even if you do everything right, sometimes something unforeseen will happen. Mm-hmm. Now, here's an example. I'll give you one from our recent history. We had a room called the closed room.
Yeah.
In which the whole point of this room was you were supposed to come in. The distract was up ahead and just slightly to the right of the door. And it was a woman doing creepy stuff in the mirror and why don't the people love me anymore type Hollywood starlet.
Exactly.
Being very disturbing with makeup and stuff. And she was very good at the acting part, by the way, and it was very disturbing. And then while everyone's trying to scooch past her, the clothes rack falls on her with the quotes, and it's just basically a bunch of clothes on a string that swoop in and touch them, and then they get freaked out. Yeah. And it makes a pretty cool noise, too, as it does it. Because you hear the rack go, screech! And the screech wasn't planned. It just kind of happened the way we set it up.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be really cool. Well, what we didn't account for, tactically, it all made sense.
Yeah.
Was that people were moving pretty fucking quick by that point.
Yeah, because our last hallway is always, our last room is always a problem. Because people see the exit. They know that's the exit. They want out. They want out fast.
And so that provided nothing to slow them down. Tactically, it all made sense. It followed the rules. Yep. It did everything we wanted.
Yeah.
It even played with it played with sight, sound, and touch. It was a great scare.
Yeah.
Everything worked well. And then it didn't work.
Yeah.
And so the way we made the room variable was we made the release longer. Mm-hmm. Now the actor didn't have to be at that whittle foo-foo desk and could get up and walk around and block the path temporarily and say creepy things to herself and then drop it at the right time.
Right.
That worked so much better.
It did. Yeah.
That little bit of variance made all the difference in that room. But if we had hard-coded that room to our vision, never would have happened.
Yeah. We also had an extra actress in there one night, an actor, and she was in a black morph suit and an outfit. And whenever she would move, because it was right across from the other scare, then it would pop too.
Yeah. So yeah, it worked out really well. And basically the idea is make it so that the room can work even if your design fails without a rebuild.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It is.
So that is all we have right now on this topic. There's a lot more we want to say and talk about in this area.
Right.
And we're going to be assembling and maybe compiling this into a talk. We'll have to see what the reactions to this are. Yes, I know it's rudimentary, and I know a lot of our longer running haunt attendees and haunt makers and haunt actors are going to be rolling their eyes at the basicness of this.
Yeah.
But I do think it's an important refresher, and I do think it's a great point. And I would love to hear your additions to these rules. Because, hey, I know we didn't get them all.
Yeah.
Don't lie. We're not perfect.
I can already think of some.
I know, and we're probably going to add those in. So these are 5 rules as of today.
Yes.
If you come see this talk, should we ever give it, there will probably be a few extras.
Yes.
Well, anything else?
No.
Well, you have been listening to Haunt Weekly, episode 195, all about haunt scare tactics. You You can find us at hauntweekly.com. We're Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/hauntweekly is the YouTube channel. All the previous episodes are available there. And also you can find us wherever you get your podcast, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. It doesn't matter. We don't discriminate. You can listen to us there as well. So until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you guys next time when it's episode 196. That means we do the news. We'll see you then.